ICE is offering a $45,000 signing bonus plus a $100,000 starting salary. A teacher in her 8th year with a master's degree will make $55,000. It was never true that we don't have enough money to pay teachers more. It was always intentional. Education has been intentionally defunded for decades because an educated populace is a threat to power. Read the books, do the work. They are absolutely terrified of education.
That's Bernard Taylor. He's an EMT who's running for Congress in Florida's 21st district. And he's spitting straight facts. Everything he said in that video is entirely accurate. ICE is being offered huge signing bonuses and six-figure starting salaries. They've told us for decades that there's not enough money to pay our teachers more. We've heard from teachers in Canada, like, what the heck are y'all in America doing, undervaluing and underpaying your teachers so badly? I mean, my husband is a public school teacher. In the United States of America, we are stealing from our own children. Our failure to adequately fund public education and create school systems that support our children and their diverse needs, that give them a quality, safe education, we're stealing from our own children. We are making our country weaker. We are depriving ourselves of a better future by intentionally choosing not to invest in our children. We don't invest in our schools. We don't pay our teachers well. There's a reason that teachers make it on average 5 years in the public school system before they burn out. Now, I'm not super familiar with Bernard's platform and his campaign, so this is not like an endorsement for me, but I did spend a little bit of time on his website. And I think it's important that we are looking at younger, dynamic folks who are running for Congress. Taylor says he's running for Congress for affordable health care, stronger education, and economic stability. That he wants those things for everybody, not just the wealthy. I looked up the 21st Congressional District in Florida, and their median household income is $77,000. That is more than $20,000 a year, less than an ICE starting salary, without the $45,000 bonus. That district is currently represented by Brian Mast, who's a veteran. That's unfortunate to hear that a veteran would support the Trump agenda, which has resulted in firing tens of thousands of fellow veterans from their federal government jobs. It's unfortunate to hear that a veteran would support Trump's agenda, which has laid off, gotten rid of loads of VA staff, cut health care to our veterans. He himself is a disabled veteran with access to health care, and yet he favors repealing the Affordable Care Act, and he voted to gut Medicaid. He voted to take away your health care. Mast, a man, also has a strong opinion about abortion, feeling that it should be illegal in all cases except for rape or incest. I do have to say, even though he's a Republican, he supports legalizing cannabis. Got to give the dude credit in the one place where he's due some. So I guess the points I want to make are twofold here. One, let's get back to Bernard Taylor, who is a candidate for this congressional seat in Florida. No matter where we live, every U.S. representative is going to be up for re-election in 2026. Now is the time to be vigorously supporting progressive Democratic candidates. Because ultimately, I think we're not only dealing with having to run against MAGA fascists, right? Cool that this guy wants to legalize cannabis. Okay, but he's voted in line with Trump's authoritarian agenda. He has shown that he is fully consolidated with the rest of the Republicans under the fascist thumb of Donald Trump, that they will not stand up for the American people. They will not defend the rule of law. They will abdicate their duty as members of Congress. They will betray their oath as members of Congress in order to gain Trump's approval. So we not only are having to run against them, but also, unfortunately, we have establishment Democratic leaders who are not capable of rising to the moment, who are still thinking about protecting their corporate interest, their foreign interest that is supporting them. They are everything, I think, that makes it difficult for so many folks who voted for Donald Trump to distinguish a real difference between Republicans and Democrats. The other day, my kid was saying, if you have corporate establishment Democrats who clearly are driven by the special interest that funds them, the big corporations that fund them, their ability to trade individual stocks. By the way, my Congresswoman, Maxine Dexter, stated this weekend that she supports legislation that would ban Congress members from being able to trade in individual stocks. You know, Nancy Pelosi does that a lot. And Republicans are right to be angry about that. They're right to be angry at Nancy Pelosi for enriching herself that way. It's clearly a conflict of interest, and yet we see establishment corporate Democrats engage in that kind of behavior, and so do the Republicans. And so my kid was saying, well, you have these two groups of people who both are kind of beholden to their big donors in the same way and are willing to fuck over working class people in the same way in order to appease their corporate interest. So conservative voters look at those two groups and they're like, nah, they're pretty similar. But this group over here, this group gives me my dose of racism that I really want. This group gives me a scapegoat for my rage against the fact that the American dream feels so elusive to me. This group over here, they validate my homophobia and my transphobia. So when those are the two options, and it looks like the only difference are the kind of bigotry that appeals to folks on the right, like you're never going to get these people to vote for Democrats by Democrats becoming more conservative. The way that you're going to get independents and working class Republicans to vote for the Democratic Party is if you start appealing to the things that they really do care about. You start speaking into their lives and you offer them solutions for the very real problems that they are facing. That's why Zoran Mamdani got a huge turnout amongst young voters, and that's why he overwhelmingly won the New York City primary. I'm still waiting for Hakeem Jeffries and a number of other establishment Democrats to give their glowing endorsement to the Democratic nominee for the New York City mayor race. Because it's vote blue no matter who, right? Right, Hakeem? It's vote blue no matter who. Mamdani is the Democratic nominee, so you're going to resoundingly support him. You're going to get behind him vigorously and campaign for him, right? Right? So when we have this situation where the Democratic Party not only has to run successful candidates against Republicans, but first, even before that, we have to run progressive candidates against those corporate establishment Democrats that are so unappealing to voters, who are willing to shirk away from their responsibility, who are unable to rise to the moment because they're so focused on corporate interest, on special interest, on AIPAC, that they're not willing to defend democracy. We have all of these young, dynamic, progressive candidates who need a chance, y'all. They need a chance. I know I've been advocating for a while, like, where is the Tea Party takeover of the Democratic Party? People didn't understand what I meant when I said that the first time. A Tea Party takeover is a populist takeover of a political party. It doesn't mean that we are going to be like the Republican Tea Party in terms of a platform. But we need this surge of progressive candidates. They deserve their moment. They deserve a chance to defend democracy. They deserve a chance to have their progressive platforms that are so appealing to voters be heard. But in order for that to happen, we have to get really invested on the primary level. We've got to start with the primaries. We can't wait until the general election and be like, oh shit, it's some totally unappealing corporate Democrat who's running against a Republican in a swing district. Or it's like, oh shit, the only person on the ballot is somebody I know that voted to censure Al Green and voted for the SAVE Act, Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez. We've got to get involved in the primaries. Now, maybe that means you want to run for something. Maybe you are fed up with the fact that our teachers are underpaid and underfunded. And maybe you are fed up with the fact that billions of our tax dollars are going to ICE. Maybe you want universal health care for every American. Maybe you want to fix this shit. Maybe you're ready to stand up. Go to run for something. Run for office. If that's not for you, I'm definitely not somebody who should be running for office, then we need to get behind progressive candidates in the primaries. And then that brings me to my second point. At the beginning, Bernard Taylor was saying all along we could have funded education. There's no reason that we couldn't pay our teachers well, that we couldn't fund our schools fully. The only reason is that authoritarians like Trump, the Christo-fascists, they require an uneducated populace. An uneducated populace is easier to control. Knowledge, experience, education are all a threat to authoritarians. So that's why they have systematically tried to defund public education for decades. But we could have all of that. We could have everything funded. Y'all, we have enough wealth in this country to fund all of the programs that would give every working class person a good quality of life. Do you know what that would take? Taxing the rich. Even if we just got the super rich to pay the $600 billion a year in taxes that they avoid paying because they're tax cheats, and Trump has now fired all the IRS workers who are in charge of going after them to collect their taxes, we could end homelessness. If we just taxed the rich, we could have the America that we dream of. So who are the candidates who want to do that?